These are the teams for the 22nd World Cup final.
Every great story has a hero, but some stories are just a little too perfect. On December 18th, 2022, the world stopped as Lionel Messi lifted the World Cup. After years of heartbreak, pressure and expectation, he'd finally done it. The little boy from Rosario had conquered football's biggest mountain. Well, some people called it destiny, others called it FIFA's fairy tale. But was it really? Because the deeper you look at the refereeing, the matchups, the strange calls, the timing of decisions, things start to feel off. What if the perfect ending was never left to chance? What if the greatest moment in football history was rigged after all? This is the story they don't want you to think about. This is the untold truth behind Messi's World Cup fairy tale. Before we really dissect how important the FIFA 2022 was, let us do a quick recap on why it was so hyped. For over a decade, Lionel Messi had done it all. Ballon d'Ors, Champions Leagues, league titles, world records. He was the perfect footballer, at least at the club level. But there was still one thing missing. There were still international honours that he had failed to capture. For any other player, this would have been a non-issue. After all, he was but one amongst 11, right? Well, you'd be wrong. You see, for all his glory, Messi had always come up short for his country, and Argentine fans never forgave him for that. But to understand why, we have to go all the way back to 2004. Messi's first involvement with his country came back in June 2004. Messi was just 17 when he rejected Spanish advances to make his international debut in an 8-0 win over Paraguay at the under-20 level. In that match, Messi heavily impressed, and that was when we truly got a glimpse of what the heir of Maradona could truly do. The 2005 FIFA World Youth Championships in the same age group would see Messi announce himself to the world for one of the first times. He was relatively unknown going into the competition. Even Sergio Aguero had to ask who his teammate was when he first met him. Nonetheless, Messi would leave the competition as Argentina's star man, rattling home 6 goals with the help of the likes of Lucas Biglia, Fernando Gago and Aguero himself, as Argentina claimed the trophy. Messi's senior career had got off to such a flying start, so naturally, after his stunning performances with the under-20s, Messi was handed his senior debut in August 2005 in a friendly against Hungary, but was unfortunately sent off just 2 minutes into it after the referee had judged him to have intentionally elbowed a Hungarian player. It wasn't the best start for Leo, but it didn't affect his appearances, as he was soon called up once again, only this time as an 18-year-old to feature in a friendly before the 2006 World Cup, where he eventually scored his first goal. It is important to note that what followed was a series of call-ups and huge disappointments for football's greatest wonder kid. In fact, it got so disappointing that Messi even had to retire from international tournaments immediately after the 2016 Copa America, where he had once again disappointed his country, failing to give them an international honour against a Neymarless Brazil. But that retirement wasn't for too long, as he came back again, to eventually feature in the 2018 World Cup. This time around, he led Argentina all the way to the finals, and just when he thought they could do it, Messi was outshone by none other than an 18-year-old Kylian Mbappe. France won the competition, and so, once again, the long-sought trophy for his country was eluding him. And for years, it was the one thing that haunted him. Not just because he hadn't won it, but because his country, Argentina, never forgave him for it. Messi was a god in Barcelona, but in Argentina, he was doubted, mocked, criticised, because whenever the big moment came in international colours, he disappeared. Or so they believed. Final after final, lost. But by the time 2022 arrived, this was it. His final shot. His last dance. He was now 35. It was now a do or die. You either win it all, or walk away as the greatest who never could. And to make things even more dramatic, he wasn't alone. Because it wasn't just Messi's final World Cup, it was Cristiano Ronaldo's too. The two greatest players of a generation. One last shot, one stage. The football world wasn't just watching, it was holding its breath. The hype around the Qatar 2022 wasn't just about who would win, it was about who would be remembered. Would Messi finally silence the doubters? Would Ronaldo steal the crown at the death? Or would a new generation, Mbappe, Neymar, Kane, De Bruyne, snatch it all away? Lionel Messi winning the World Cup should have been the most beautiful ending to a sports career ever written. The final chapter of football's most fantastic fairy tale. I mean, who wouldn't want the GOAT to complete football? Right? Well, you're wrong.
To tomorrow's final, obviously no Qatar in the final, but is this the dream final for Qatar, given the fact that two of the stars of Paris Saint-Germain, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, are in this final?
I mean, look, it's a dream final for a lot of people, absolutely. You know, you've got the rising star, Kylian Mbappe. You've got what is, who, in my opinion, if he wins it, would be a very, very strong candidate to be the GOAT.
If it was one or the other, well, they are the two favourites, but I'd love to see Messi lift the World Cup. And I think that would cement him as the greatest player of all time.
Wait, are you telling me this was all scripted? Surely something must be wrong, right? I mean, I'd understand if a pundit said Messi ought to win, or if a fan said it. But why is the president of FIFA saying it? Why is the Qatari World Cup chairman celebrating it like a business deal? But let's be clear, we are not here to claim that's the truth. But we're here to tell the full story, because the story isn't just about Messi's brilliance. It's about perception, about timing, and about what happens when emotion meets power. But to truly understand this, let's rewind a little. The first reason why people believe Qatar needed this to be Messi's is because in 2001, when Messi left Barcelona, just a few months before the 2022 World Cup, he joined Paris Saint-Germain. And PSG at this time was mainly owned by Qatar Sports Investments, a company directly linked to the Qatari royal family. So from the moment he became a part of their team, some felt he wasn't just a signing. He had to be the face of Qatar's World Cup hosting dream. For the nation that spent over $200 billion to host the World Cup, Messi was more than a player. He had become the story they wanted the world to tell. But the Qatar connection wasn't the only reason people were suspicious. Long before 2022, fans believed that FIFA favoured Messi. And some of that came straight from the top. I'm sure you'll remember FIFA's then president's comment about Messi being the perfect child.
Lionel Messi is a good boy that every father, every mother would like to have it at home. And
When you're someone in a position to influence football's biggest trophies, saying things like that would really lead to the wrong ideas. That comment from the former FIFA chief and the present chief, Infantino, felt like confirmation bias to millions of fans who already believe Messi got the favourable spotlight. You can't help but ask, was Lionel Messi destined to win the World Cup no matter what? And if so, what really is the untold truth behind his historic triumph? Because as we move past the build-up, the hype, and the headlines, it's time to look at what happened on the pitch, the calls, the moments, the margins, and decide for ourselves, was this the perfect ending football needed, or a story that was always meant to end this way? Going into the 2022 World Cup, from the very first day, Messi was a man on a mission, and his country, Argentina, was ready to die for him this time. Messi had just lifted his first ever international trophy at the 2021 Copa America, finally silencing years of doubt from his country's fans. But it wasn't enough. Just months later, Argentina dominated again, winning the Finalissima against Italy and becoming the European champions. But it still wasn't enough. For so long, Diego Maradona was the unrivaled hero to supporters across Argentina for masterminding their 1986 World Cup success. But all that would soon change. This wasn't just any Argentina side. This was a team unbeaten in 36 matches. A team that felt untouchable. A team led by a 35-year-old Lionel Messi, playing the best football of his life, fresh off a 7th Ballon d'Or win. Naturally, they were one of the favourites, alongside France, Brazil, Portugal and England, the usual heavyweights. But then the group stage draw came out, and something felt odd. No Germany, no Netherlands, no Uruguay, just a path that looks suspiciously clear. Now, on paper, these are all solid teams, but when you compare the firepower of other groups, this felt a little soft, a little too beatable, and instantly whispers began. Was this the first act of a perfect script? Because as soon as the group dropped, the bookmakers changed everything. Argentina's odds of winning the tournament? They shortened overnight. Massively. From 12-1 to 9-1. They jumped ahead of Spain, caught up to France, and they hadn't even kicked a ball. The fairy tale has started writing itself. But like any great story, it needed a great twist. The one thing nobody expected. Argentina 1, Saudi Arabia 2. The favourites. The golden boy. The unbeaten giants. Argentina was utterly beaten by a team with not even a fraction of their power. In the most shocking opening result of any World Cup in recent memory, at first, the world laughed. It looked like another Messi tragedy. Another so close chapter in a cursed international career. But then, if you really look closer, you'll see that 3 Argentina goals were ruled out in their first half, all for offside. The new semi-automated offside technology was in full swing, but the margins? They were paper thin. In one of the disallowed goals, Lautaro Martinez's shoulder was the difference. A shoulder. Not a leg, not a foot, just a shoulder. And when the game ended, the feeling of them being favourites shifted. Something didn't feel right. But then again, that's the thing about great stories. They all start with heartbreak. And this was the perfect Act 1. A fall before the rise. And suddenly, you had to ask, was this set up to make the comeback sweeter? Because after this moment, everything started to change. And Messi, he, for some reason, changed totally. What we would witness next was anything but human. After that shocking defeat, the pressure was unbearable. One more slip, and Messi's dream was over. And the next match was Mexico. Arguably one of the fastest, physical, fierce teams Messi had ever faced. And already scenting blood. For 60 full minutes, Argentina couldn't breathe. The world was watching, and Messi, he looked frustrated, cornered, tired. But then again, was he? With a swing of the left foot from outside the box, Messi shattered the silence.
Lionel Messi. Messi's hit! Oh! That's what they came for!
It wasn't just a goal, it was a message. He was still here. He was still him. But here's what made this different. In every tournament before, Messi had to carry everything on his own. But not this time. Because slowly, new names started stepping up. Di Maria, Enzo Fernandez, Julian Alvarez, Alexis McAllister, young, hungry, born into the Messi era, and now playing beside their childhood idol. When Enzo scored that second goal against Mexico, the tide officially turned. Argentina had an army now. But while the football world celebrated the resurgence, another story was beginning. A quieter one, a more suspicious one. One that you could say went under the whistle, literally. The referees. In the Poland match, Argentina were awarded yet another penalty. A soft one. Messi stepped up and missed. But the problem wasn't the penalty, but why it was given in the first place. And then more decisions started to pile up. 1 or 2, That's normal. But when does it start to look like a pattern? You can't help but ask, was this just Argentina's luck turning? Or something else quietly pushing them forward? While Messi was delivering magic on the pitch, some fans started looking beyond it. They weren't just watching the goals, they were watching the calls, the timing, the flow of the game. And little by little, a narrative was forming that this World Cup was, well, staged, built for one man. And every decision, every bounce, every referee whistle, it was all part of the script. But is this all true? What really is the untold truth behind this World Cup victory? Well, it is time to finally tell you. Let's stop dancing around it. Let's say it for what it really was. This World Cup wasn't just about drama, it was drenched in controversy. And no matter what side you're on, whether you believe Messi deserved it or that it was fixed, one thing is clear. Things were off. Let's start with the penalties. Argentina were awarded 5 penalties in this tournament, more than any other team. And it wasn't just the number. It was when they came. It was why they were given. It was what was ignored when other teams screamed for similar ones. Let's rewind. In the group stage versus Poland, Szczęsny's fingertips lightly grazed Messi's face just as he jumps for a cross. No major protests, no VAR delay. Yet, that penalty was given. And although Messi missed, the damage was already done. Because something bigger has started to creep into the minds of people. Doubt. In the quarterfinals versus the Netherlands, a handball in the build-up to Argentina's goal was also ignored. Then, a soft penalty was called for Argentina. In fact, it was given with no hesitation. And the moment tensions exploded, Messi got away with a blatant yellow-worthy gesture towards the Dutch bench. Other players were being carded for less. Martinez mocked the Dutch during penalties. Still, no fine. Just smiles and silence from the referee. It honestly felt like they were intentionally following some divine instructions at this point. But let's talk about the final. The one that felt like a movie. Argentina versus France. Mbappe versus Messi. Legacy versus destiny. It's one of the most historic showdowns ever. Mbappe was the standout player, but he wasn't the one who got the highlight that day. It was the first penalty. Just take a look at this. There was a soft contact on Di Maria, one of the lightest fouls seen in all tournament, and it was given just like that. Meanwhile, early in the game, France had a similar claim, but they got nothing. Then there's the free kick count. Argentina had twice as many fouls awarded in their favour as France did, despite committing just as many. In the World Cup final, that shouldn't happen. But perhaps there's the real heartbreak. In Kylian Mbappe, scoring a hat-trick in a World Cup final, becoming the first player in 56 years to do so. And he still lost. He did everything right. And yet, somehow, the moment wasn't his. The villain had the performance of a lifetime, but the story refused to change, because this story wasn't written for him. It was written for someone else. But was it though? But maybe, just maybe, you're looking at it wrong. Because two truths can exist at the same time. Maybe Lionel Messi was protected. Maybe the ending was too perfect. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what if it was written all along? Just not by men. Not by FIFA, not by Qatar, not by some boardroom with a blueprint, but by something greater. Because when you take a step back, when you strip the drama, the debates, the conspiracies, and just watch the man, you begin to realise he didn't just play football. He played his life out like a script. A slow-burning story, 17 years in the making. And maybe this wasn't FIFA's fairy tale after all. Maybe it was fate. Messi scored 7 goals at the 2022 World Cup, just one fewer than the eventual Golden Boot winner Kylian Mbappe. He finished the tournament with the joint highest number of assists, 3, and key passes, 21, and recorded more shots on target than any other player, 13. Messi also became the first player in World Cup history to score in the group stage, last 16, quarter-final, semi-final and final at a single tournament, while picking up a record haul of 5 Man of the Match awards. When the time came to hand out the golden ball for the best player of the Qatar competition, there could only be one winner. Messi is now the only man to ever claim the prize twice, having also been recognised for his performance at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, despite losing. Messi has played at 5 World Cups in total, and is unmatched when it comes to overall goal contributions, with 13 goals and 8 assists to his name. He also boasts the most appearances at the tournament on 26, one more than Germany icon Lothar Matthäus. Only 3 players have scored more World Cup goals than Messi: Miroslav Klose, Ronaldo Nazario and Gerd Müller. For so long, Diego Maradona was the unrivaled hero to supporters across Argentina for masterminding their 1986 World Cup success. But Messi is no longer in that shadow, and the statistics prove that he is right up there with the greatest performers to have ever graced international football's most prestigious tournament. Maybe this was FIFA script all along. Maybe it wasn't. We'll never truly know. But what we do know is that we got the most beautiful ending to the greatest career football has ever seen. And if you ask us, it was worth it. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. We read every one. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, you'll love the one coming up on your screen right now. See you in a sec.